Okay, all right. Thank you, Stephanie. I've been having all kinds of technical difficulties. In fact, what I'm trying to do is thank you, Renee. Thank you, Stephanie, for. Uh, let's see. No. Okay, now we're caught up with the volume. Hopefully, you can hear me now. But tonight's episode, we'll be talking about Tales from the Crypt. Now, I had just explained a bunch of stuff. I'll do it again. Um, I've been having all kinds of technical issues here over the last week or so. I get bumped from the internet just randomly at any time. I was actually trying to fix that before I came on here, which caused some of my technical hiccups. So hopefully we'll stay on for the entire hour. I hope so. We will see. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Hopefully you can hear me now. So I'm just still hearing things about no sound. So hopefully that has been corrected. It looks like it's been corrected on my end. So hopefully you can hear me. Maybe somebody will just give me a thumbs up or something. Maybe we could do that. But until then, I'll just keep rambling on. Now today's topic, we were discussing this last week. Bonehead says, "Well, I'm here. Hey, Bonehead, thanks for joining us." Al says, "Hi, everyone. It's Chiller Night." It sure is. Heck yeah. We started out with no audio, and I've yet to get some confirmation that we're on. I assume we are. I was having a lot of problems. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to have a show tonight. So, but we are apparently, at least you can see me. No one yet has been giving me, okay, sound is good, Jason says. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Christian Marshall, thanks for joining us, Christian. Now, Christian, for some reason, for 3 weeks in a row here, whatever emojis are sent, I can't see for probably a good 20 seconds. I don't know why that is, but that is one of the gremlins I've been enduring for the last 3 weeks or so. So I'll wait for Christian's emojis to pop up. Can you see my text? Bonehead says, "I can see you on Facebook." Yes, I can see that. 2 exclamation point for Brian, Tom says. And again, if you are putting, Christian, I see now, that's how much of a delay there is here. I see now your thumbs up. So, Stephanie, I see nothing under your name. So apparently there's some emojis. All right, Christian can definitely hear me. All right, darn those gremlins, Stephanie says. I know, darn them. But we are talking about Tales from the Crypt. And unfortunately, I had a bunch of stuff pulled up. I had to reboot my computer. So tonight's episode, all the information that I had is lost. Ha So we're going to be shooting from the hip, or at least I will on this end. You guys all have your fancy Google. Why? So to refer to Stephanie, there's a thumbs up for 2 thumbs up for Brian. I take it. Tom, awesome. John says, and for you your Tuesday night entertainment, it's time again for the next hour. It's time again for Chiller Night Live. I'm my favorite announcer and most of yours, Crozak the Grand. And now here's everyone's favorite host and mine. Here's Bryan Hogue. Thank you, Crozak the Grand and John. I'm on YouTube, Brian, LOL, Bonehead says. Okay, I saw Bonehead on Facebook earlier, so maybe you switched over. Or you have a doppelganger on Facebook. So I'd be looking very seriously into that. No, I'm sure you just did the switcheroo. Patty says no sound, can't stay. Oh no, Patty is not hearing me, but Bonehead is hearing me and seeing me. All right, what an odd way to begin the show. Okay. Just random craziness. It's a madhouse. A madhouse. John Wayne says, hello, everyone. Hey, SBC, thanks for joining us. Broden says, Brian, I'm usually lost most of the time anyways. It'll pass just like gas. All right. All right. Well, I am glad to hear that. I think I'm glad to hear that. But anyways, all right. Last week we decided that we were going to talk about Tales from the Crypt, and I know that because Patty actually went back through and wrote down the topics for what weeks, and I appreciate that very much, Patty, for doing that because I didn't remember what the topic was for this week. I mean, without going back through and looking at the show myself. So thank you for doing that. I much appreciate that. Tonight is Tales from the Crypt night. I have the DVDs. I have the complete series from HBO, spearheaded by Richard Donner. Remember him? You'll probably recognize, I'm sure you recognize the name of Richard Donner. Directed Superman, the original, the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. The Lethal Weapon movies. So, and Tales from the Crypt, of course. Kristen says, I don't suppose talking louder would help some of them. I don't know. I don't know what to suppose here. Bonus says, yes, Brian, I couldn't find you on YouTube, so I went to Facebook. And then I finally got on YouTube. Well, what happened was I kept getting disconnected from the internet. And I'll say this, now it'll be my third time, because the first time didn't count, because I didn't have audio, apparently. But I was trying something that I looked up on YouTube, you know, to fix the problem. And I only had a few minutes left. So I was like, all right, tick, 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 getting up to the showtime. I had all my notes for Tales of the Crypt and all of that stuff. I had it rebooted. So, but on the plus side, hopefully I am connected to the internet for the entire duration of the show. So until 9 p.m., we'll sit here, we'll chat about Tales from the Crypt, or honestly anything else you just happen to throw them away. But this will be the standing topic of the night. John Wayne says, using Windows is always fun. A special place in hell is reserved for Bill Gates. Wow, for many reasons. But yeah. The bonus says, that's the same series collection I got, Brian. Awesome. That's cool. Stephanie says, OMG, I also have the TV show set as well as the movie ones. Both before and after. See, my favorite movie, like if you were to ask me what my favorite like Tales from the Crypt episode is, that would be, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you because I haven't watched those for so long for me to remember. I'll just say one with William Sadler, you know, the one where he was the executioner. I know that one just stands out, kind of jumps to the forefront of my mind. And so that was kind of cool because, again, these things obviously were, you know, evolved from they're based off of the old EC comics, of which I have a few right here. EC comics, we have, of course, the old Tales from the Crypt. We have, what is it, The Haunt of Fear, I believe this one is. And then they had, you know, the Vault of Horror as well. So they had various comics. Tales from the Crypt is the one that most of us always remember. But, you know, I've got Boba Fett holding up this one right here. All right. Thank you, Boba. This was before I got this one. Ava got me this for a Christmas gift several years ago. And before that, I had these ones here, which kind of open up into a neat little packet that you can see. I'll try not to get too much glare there. But it was kind of cool because they had, you know, the disc 1, disc 2, disc 3. This is season 2, I believe. Yeah. And it's kind of cool because they have a little synopsis on each of the episodes that you're watching. Now, season 1 had a little booklet that came with it. That was pretty neat. Now, also, one of the bonuses was a documentary, Behind the Screams shockumentary feature. I don't think that's the one I was thinking of, but there was one that actually explains the entire, like, William Gaines publications, EC Comics, and all that, and all that good stuff behind the scenes. Here are the all 6 seasons of Tales from the Crypt. Now that same one that I pulled out there, the season 2, Jason says, The Crate with Hal Holbrook and Adriana Barbeau was my favorite act in the first Tales from the Crypt movie. Ah! Or Creep Show. Was that Creep Show? Or I know which one you're talking about. The Crate Monster. Tales from Crypt. See, this one just has the disc. There's nothing really spectacular inside. It does have a little paper there that has a synopsis on them. Disc 1, Disc 2. So that's kind of cool, and I do have the complete series with that. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 6 seasons. There's actually 7 of them in here. So, but that's kind of neat. Creep Show, you know, Jason had mentioned the Crate Monster. You know, and Creep Show was a homage to Tales from the Crypt. It's the same, kind of the same format. You have the Creep, who was the narrator type of character, and here we have the Crypt Keeper. Let's see. Bonus says, if I like a show, I try to buy the whole series DVD set. I'm still trying to find 1,000 Ways to Die. John Wayne says, comics like this were always great. I know. Bonus says, Jason, you're thinking Creep Show, right? Not Tales from the Crypt. Jason says, Creep Show. Oops, my bad. This topic tonight is not my strong point. No, that's fine. You know, Creep Show is it was based off of Tales from the Crypt. And that show there was based off the comic. So that's why Creep Show is a homage to the old, you know, EC comics. It actually, that's what they were basing that off of. And Creep Show, we could actually do an entire episode on Creep Show because I'm sure, you know, if you've been here long enough, you know that I have from one of the artists who worked on the animation segments of the Creep Show movies and the season 1 of when Greg Nicotero relaunched the series for Shudder, the Shudder channel. The first season of that, they still had animated segments. So, but one of the artists, Phil Wilson, who was a guest on Chiller Chat, I interviewed him. He came to the studio and I had an interview with him. Well, he ended up actually giving me some of the actual animation cells from the movie, from the Creep Show movies, which was, I mean, awesome. And so when we do Creep Show, I would like to do Creep Show. When we do that one, I will pull out those animation cells. My favorite episode, Stephanie says, is called "And All Through the House." Oh, was that the very first episode, season 1, episode 1? If I that was a direct, if that's the one I'm thinking, where the escaped insane criminal is disguised as a Santa Claus and the little kid lets him in the house. And, one of the most underrated franchises, Tales from the Crypt, Richard says. I love that show. I'll be honest, like, I didn't watch it when it first came on. I didn't watch it in the 90s until I could rent. I didn't have HBO, and I didn't even have TV through most of the late 80s into a lot of the 90s. I didn't have TV, and so I read a lot, or I rented movies, but I was moving around a lot, and I just didn't. I didn't have TV. I didn't have HBO. So when I was living in Pittsburgh, we had a Blockbuster video up the street. Blockbuster, remember Blockbuster? I would go and I would rent the episodes on the VHS tapes and take them back and get to watch them that way. And I just love everything about it. The opening segment there with the Danny Elfman music. I don't know, everything about that I just really enjoyed. Brett's saying hi. Hey Brett, give me the wave emoji, I'll wave back. What were your favorite episodes, SBC says? What were they? Yes, we've seen a couple of them so far. I will say my favorite Tales from the Crypt movie, not the series, but the movies, Remember, they had Demon Knight and they had Bordello of Blood. I liked Demon Knight. I really liked that movie. I can't find it anywhere. You know, I can't find it streaming anywhere even. So, but that was. I went to the theater to see that one, Demon Knight. John says the entire EC comic book company was the victim of censorship by a few people in Congress who were trying to control and censor the comic book industry for their content. And as a result, EC Comics went bankrupt, and the companies were forced to adapt their own content control. Yeah, they got a little. There's a really cool documentary on this. I'm sure you could find it on YouTube. I'm not real sure about that, but I'm just guessing that you could probably find that on YouTube. The history of EC Comics, maybe. I don't know what it's called, but that sounds likely to me. That if you type that in, you would find it. But it does give the history of that. And John, John says what they did mention. They did admit, though, they got a little too excessive, in their later comics, and they didn't tone it down, and I think that's what really pushed it over the edge. Especially there was one episode or issue that was particularly gruesome, and they're like, well, who are these for? Are these for kids, or are these? And it was something to do with they had the bodies all hacked up, and they were playing baseball with the arms and legs, and I think that's the one that really pushed them over the edge there and got them in all kinds of hot water back in that day. Let's see. I'm probably, am I skipping some? I'm hoping. Let's see. You're okay, Jason. I do the same thing. Then I get mad when I don't see what I thought I was supposed to see in the movie. Oh, about the Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow. Yeah, those are easy. That's very easy mistake to make, because I've done that before. I'd be thinking, like, was this Creepshow or Tales from the Crypt? Because they're so similar. Intentionally. That was intentional with, when George Romero and Stephen King collaborated. That was a direct homage to Tales from the Crypt. So that's why it's easy to confuse the two. Brian says, hello, everyone. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. John Wayne says, the one with Santa Claus is great. Yeah. The bonus says, the first segment was the same in both the movie and the series of Tales all through the house. Oh, yeah. And it was also taken, I think, if I remember this right, almost word for word from the comic book. Because that was a directly from the comic, one of the stories. Bonus says, I thought they were at least, but seeing as I'm a deadhead, I may be wrong. All through the house. I don't know. The first, well, now, hey, if we want to talk about movies, let's not forget the 1972 British movie, Tales from the Crypt. That was pretty cool. I haven't seen it for years, but I do remember that was, Peter Cushing was in that one. But it had a bunch of people, and they ended up in the Crypt Keeper's lair. At this time, it would just look like a man in a robe. But it was interesting because the stories are obviously like an anthology of stories where everybody gets their comeuppance. They gets their bad karma heaped back on them at the end, and we're all taught a moral lesson in one way or the other. Or they are, anyways. Stephanie says, the book club's good, Bones. I got one coming up next Tuesday. Very cool. But it says, word of advice, do not put Icy Hot next to the toothpaste in the bathroom medicine cabinet. All right. Now, nobody do that. Let's see. All right, I think I'm all caught up on that. Let me see if I can pull up what I had before with Tales from the Crypt. And also, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was also an animated Tales from the Crypt, like a Saturday morning type of thing here. Let's see. Hopefully we can stay on the internet. That was my issue. That was my issue. For like the last week, ever since last Tuesday night, like past that, beyond that, I was having all kinds of issues. John Kaser is the Crypt Keeper, does the voice of the Crypt Keeper, of course. Um, let's see, Tales from the Crypt. Let's go to Wikipedia. And also Tales from the Crypt comics. History. (1950 to 1955) EC Comics format anthology, which we are all very well familiar with at this point. Let's see. Let's put up a comic cover there. Tales from the Crypt has since been reprinted in single issues and collected volumes, which is what I have here. These I don't think these are original. Jack Davis, the artist, the famous Jack Davis. I know he drew this one. He didn't draw this one. This was the artist. Who was the artist on? I knew this guy had kind of a. I can't think of his name, and of course it's not gonna have it in the front so that I can tell you. But he had a very, like, I've heard it described as his artwork looked like everything was melting. You know, it just had a melted, blended look to it. But, you know, in a comic book like this, it just, that's perfect. In this issue, EC's adaptation of a story by Ray Bradbury. One of these was, I don't know if this is the one they're referring to, but they had actually kind of got, they didn't quite get in trouble for this, but they had borrowed a story by Ray Bradbury, and he had been trying to get in touch with them. You know, back in the day, it wasn't as easy to get in touch with people because he's like, hey, that's my story. When he did get in touch with them, they were like, oh, hey, we've been trying to contact you. We did this story as a homage to, you know, as a tribute to you. And he seemed to be pretty understanding when he heard their explanation. But so I would think that this was probably, I'm guessing it's a reprint because I don't know that they would have put that on the original. Yeah, it was just a kind of a, well, it was no different probably than the movie industry if you think about it back in those days. Just cranking that content out, get it out there. We don't even care how. John says, in the 70s, Amicus Studios in England also produced The Vault of Horror, which several of the stories were based off original stories from EC Comics. Oh, very cool. Very cool. That is neat. I actually did not know that, but that's another Vault of Horror, if you can see right here. The red cover there, the red banner at the top, that was Vault of Horror, which was an EC Comics title as well. Like, it wasn't just Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, like John said, and The Haunt of Fear. Well, that's what I'm holding. That's cool. That's neat. Maybe I'll have to stream that one. I'm sure I've seen that, but I mean, if I did, it was probably back in the 90s. I don't remember it too well. Let's see, Bunny says, I got a book this week that's got 3 WW2 stories in it: South Pacific, Mr. Roberts, and Battle Cry. That's cool. A novel, or is it like a graphic novel, like one, like the Walking Dead stuff, or? That's pretty cool. Stephanie says, I've seen the animated on the internet. Yeah, I didn't even, I'll be honest, I didn't even know that until probably about maybe 2 years ago when I was just looking up stuff on Tales from the Crypt. I was trying to find, if it was streaming anywhere, and which, you can find it, but typically you have to pay per episode. So, um, but that's where I first saw Tales from the Crypt as a cartoon. Remember, I don't know what year that was. Let me see, because I didn't have TV for a while. Tales from the Crypt. From 93 to 99. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wouldn't have been able to see that one. That ran from 93 to 99, like I said. And of course, John Kaiser, if I'm saying that right, he reprised his role as the Crypt Keeper, which I'm glad. I'm glad they used the same actor, the voice actor. Um, you definitely would want that. But there's a lot of, like, even Goosebumps, with this anthology layout, for kids. But still, it was a neat. I don't know. There's something about that. There's something about the format of Tales from the Crypt. With the narrator. And it's broken up into different segments and different stories. You got like 3 different stories in each comic, 2 or 3 at least. I don't know, but I just love the way that stuff is laid out in the series, in the comics. Creepshow, that was brought up. Creepshow is the same way, but what I liked about Creepshow is, I won't delve too deep into that, but they brought the animation into it, which gave it the old comic book feel, which is obviously what they intended to do. That was what they were trying to do. But then, and I don't know why. I don't know why they did away with that in season 2 and 3. And I haven't seen anything beyond that. I'm talking about now the new series of Creepshow with Greg Nicotero. But I remember, I was telling Phil, like, whoa, why aren't you guys? Because he had worked on the first season, but I'm like, why isn't Greg Nicotero having you guys animate, season 2 and 3, and so he didn't know. He wasn't sure why they got away from that. But Rick Catazone, he was another well-known artist who worked on that, and he was actually a professor of mine, or one of the professor. He was one of the instructors of mine at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh when I went there as well. So, but these guys are fantastic, they're phenomenal artists, and they did a fantastic job. And I just wonder if anybody knows the answer to this. If anybody knows Greg Nicotero, have him call here. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to ask him that. Like, hey, I'm sure you're making tons of money. You don't need my opinion, that's for sure. But, man, I know that myself and tons of other old school fans would love to see the animated segments brought back to the series. I don't read them graphic novels, Bonehead says. I like to use my own imagination whenever I'm reading, and I haven't read comic books since I was a kid, LOL. Yeah. There is something to that, I still like my comics and my graphic. I haven't bought comics for years. I've had these things. I couldn't even tell you how long I've had these. Here's one that the boys bought me. They know I love monsters and comics. They bought me this one, an old Werewolf by Night. They bought me this a few years ago for one of my birthdays. Now I'm curious. I got to get it out and see what year this is. It's got to be, I'm going to guess early 70s. What do you think? I'm going to say 74. And I honestly don't know. 1973. I was close. I was very close. Wow. Werewolf by Night. Remember the old Charles Atlas? And what do we got back here? Evel Knievel. Oh, man. See, I love this stuff just to look at the old stuff that made me happy as a kid. And to some extent as an adult. But I've just always loved that stuff. John Wayne says, I used to read these horror pulp magazines. Yeah. Bonus says, where'd Tom Paisley and Renee Cruz go? Did I annoy them that quickly? Is Lasercorn here today? I was wondering if you've annoyed them and they've left because of you. What did you do? No, I did notice that they were missing. I don't know what they're missing, but I haven't seen their comments here in a while. We should do Creepshow next week. Ah, all right. Well, let me see. To be fair, I will, but I know Patty went through the trouble of. let me just see. She did it. That was so awesome. She actually went back and because she heard me last week say, "Oh, I don't, something about I won't remember this." She actually, oh my gosh, she went through. Okay, last week we did the Twilight Zone. This week, Tales from the Crypt. Now here's interesting. Okay. 8:20 for next week. It's the Mandela effect. All right, pretty interesting topic. And at 8:27 UFOs. I wouldn't have remembered that. Again, Patty, I don't think you're still on here, but once again, I was sure to thank you on here, and I thank you again because that is just so awesome that you interacted like that. And but yeah, Creepshow. How about after that we do Creepshow? That'd be awesome. And I'll pull out the animation cells. I've had those out before, but I'll get them out again. Let's see. But it says, speaking of comics, I used to love Weird War that had scary horror stories in it. Man, I love that series. I think I know what you're talking about. Stephanie says, hey, Brian, Werewolf by Night was made into a movie. I recalled seeing that one. Yeah. They did that one in, I don't know if they had a black and white version that they put out there separately, but I thought I remembered watching the black and white version of that. Bonus says, I had one that was Spider-Man versus the Wolfman. It was really good. That's neat. Yeah, every once in a while it was really cool to see the monsters come in and battle the superheroes. John Wayne says, the crazy things you could order were always the best thing about old comics. I know. The X-ray glasses and the sea monkeys. We've talked about sea monkeys before. Yeah, just... There's so much fun stuff like that. And the life-size Frankenstein monster, 6 foot tall or something like that. I don't know, I could probably find it in here, but I remember that. It was just a big cardboard or probably paper poster-like material of Frankenstein. What was it? Oh, it was probably in the Werewolf by Night one. But I did the, speaking of graphic novels, I just recently got for my birthday, I'll share it, the Lone Ranger graphic novel. I started reading this one. This is pretty cool. It's got some really neat artwork in there. This is Dynamite Comics. And also, just to have them in my collection, I got these reprints of Fran Stryker novels that came out back in the 70s. They were just a reprint of the old ones. So it says The Lone Ranger, The Lone Ranger and the Mystery Ranch, and this is The Lone Ranger and the Gold Robbery. So sure hope he gets those guys and teaches them what's what, and they don't do it again. So, but. Yeah, so every once in a while I still like to But these are the novels. So I got the novels. There's like 5 more I need to get to complete the finish the collection. What in the world is this? I haven't read these yet. Something in here. I got these off of eBay. Come for the filter. Oh, a cigarette ad. You know, these are back in the 70s. I was like, what the heck is this? And you'll stay for the taste. These are Kent cigarettes. All right. Jason says, Alex Ross, Kingdom Come and Justice, and Alan Moore's Watchmen are my favorite graphic novels, along with The Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. Yeah, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns and Alex Ross, Kingdom Come. I have that one. Justice, Alan Moore's Watchmen. Yeah, some really, really great stories and artwork with that stuff. I remember back seeing The Dark Knight Returns. Did that come out in the 80s, I believe? Early 83, maybe? I don't know, I'm guessing. But when I saw that, I was like, that's the first time that I had seen like a, you know, like an older, I think I'm remembering this right, like an older Batman, and it was out of the context of the canon with the current storylines. But I remember when I was a kid, I remember seeing, you know, the Batman show, and it was hokey and everything like that. And then in the 70s, you had the art of the Neil Adams and this really, really awesome Batman that they kind of revamped, basically showing how dangerous he was and how skilled he was as a detective and as a fighter, and how knowledgeable he was scientifically and all that stuff. It was really, really cool. It was a neat time to be a Batman fan. Jason says, I always wanted the army soldiers in the comic books, but my parents never let me get them. I know. They always look so awesome in those comic ads. But it says, them sea monkeys ate my goldfish. Oh no. That's just rude. John Wayne says, Jason, I love playing with them, especially the German ones. Oh, yeah. They always look so cool. And then they had the, remember the fort, the army fort, and it was like on a hill, and it was done in a mountain. That was kind of cool. I don't know if you remember which one I'm talking about, but I remember it vaguely. But I have a memory of it. But that stuff always looks as your kid, you're like, oh, I gotta have that. But it says, good googly moogly. Look at the time. Wow, 8:42. Hey. I wouldn't have thought that. But for those of you who are in Northwest Pennsylvania, I'm going to plug Chiller Night right now. I do encourage you to visit Chiller Night, and then I'm also going to talk about Chiller Night Theater, Stream TV, and New York 48 WON TV. I'll mention those, of course, but right now, let's see. Oh, and we had the segment of Jack ordering the pizza. That wasn't, remember? The software I'm using said last week, I'm not having any of that, but we're going to try it again this week. But let's see, we got Chiller Night. There it is. Look at that. There's my store at the Cranberry Mall. That's the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, Pennsylvania. There's a little look-see inside, the entrance of Jack Shadow's House of Terror, which will be opening up in 7 weeks and 3 days from now. The Witching Hour Escape Room and Zombie Outbreak. Those are both 1-hour escape rooms. Zombie Outbreak and The Witching Hour. And you can book those by calling 814-209-8214, or you can book that online at chillernight.com. There he is, Jack Shadow. Jack Shadow. Oh boy, he's going to be back. He's pretty happy about that. Speaking of Jack, we're gonna look at him ordering a pizza. Let's try this skit. All right.
Ben and Barbara are trapped in farmhouse. Please begin the summons of repair. Like Frank Mom's raise cheese flame. Why is that? Does it remind the damned of the hellfire awaiting them beyond?
Huh. I don't know what's going on there, but Bonus says, doggone, I actually made Brian look. Sorry about that, Brian. Bonus says, Brian, any word on a Jack Shadow action figure for sale? I would love that. Speaking of action figure, we saw a few weeks ago that there was a, Tom looked that up, that there was a custom-made Manos and Torgo action figure. And speaking of that, where the heck is Paul? Where is Paul? Let me try that again, then we'll...
Ben and Barbara are trapped inside the old farmhouse. Zombies begin to surround the home as the night begins. We saw a few minutes ago that the dead were repelled by fire. Just like Frankenstein's monster who was raised from the cold clutches of death, these creatures fear the flame. Why is that? Does it remind the damned of the hellfire awaiting them beyond? To walk the earth after death, 'tis a curse of the damned indeed. If you've never seen Night of the Living Dead, you're in for a real treat. If you have, then order a treat and watch it again. I think I'll order my treat for the night. A pizza from Vercelli's in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is all part of the chiller movie watching experience, folks. Okay, normally Aura or Elle does this for me, but they're out terrorizing a local village. You know, girls' night out. So looks like I'll have to do it this time. All right. Hello? Vercelli's? Yes, this is Jack Shadow, and I would like to order a large pizza. What would I like on it? Yes, I would like spider eggs and salamander eyes. And if some human eyes made their way on there, I wouldn't complain, you know what I'm saying? Also, I'd like some snail snot, alligator tongue. I want that fresh, right out of the mouth, still flopping around a bit, all right? And throw a few decayed bat wings on there, too. Cover the whole thing with a nice glaze of spider webs. Oh, and bring me a 2-liter of plasma martini mix. And that should about do it. Now read that back to me, please. Oh, you don't have those toppings. Well, which ones? All of them? Well, I don't know what kind of pizza place this is, then. Okay, what do you have? Pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions, mushrooms, bacon, black olives. Okay, well, I'll admit that does sound really good. Okay, I'll take a large pizza with every topping you have, except mushrooms. I kind of think mushrooms are gross on pizza. Hey, are you sure you don't have any salamander eyes? Okay, just checking. All right, yes, bring that to Castle Shadow. It's in your system, believe me. Okay, thank you much.
All right, seemed to work that time. I think. I mean, it seems to. Bonus said, Jack's got an eerie echo effect going on. Pretty neat. I don't know what would cause that. Bonus says, by the way, I'm getting ready to make dinner. LOL. Guess what I ain't having? Yeah. He says, where's the anchovies? Good question. All good questions. Let's see. And while we're thinking about that, don't forget, every Saturday night beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Stream TV. And you can find Stream TV at streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv. Every Saturday night beginning at 9 o'clock, Stream TV plays 4 episodes of Chiller Night Theater, just like they've been doing for years. And these are back to back. That's why they're at an odd time. You see at 9 o'clock and then 10:23. Well, these are back to back, and they play 4 chiller movies hosted by Jack Shadow every Saturday night. So make sure that if you feel like watching chiller night theater, you check it out. And also, the newest place, this has got such a delay on it for some reason. I don't know why, but the newest place is New York 48, WWON TV, every Saturday night at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch an episode of Chiller Night Theater, again hosted by Jack Shadow. So, and if you don't know where to find that, the WONNE, well, basically WONNewyork.net, okay? But I have those links in the description. So, and also, while I'm at it, like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you are watching on Facebook, you know, if you would, you know, support the pages there, Chiller Night Escape Experience, Jack Shadow's House of Terror, and Chiller Night Theater. All right, so like those pages and show your support in that way. And who knows? Maybe I am going to try. I can't promise, but I am going to see if Jack Shadow would be so kind as to grace the screen once again, hosting a Halloween special this year. So I'm going to see. I said that last time, and I was just so swamped and I wasn't able to do it. But we'll see about getting one done. I would love to see that. I know he would love to see that. So we will see. Stephanie says pizza and a scary movie, beautiful combination. Yes, Doug. Hey, Doug. Thanks for joining us. Roasted salamander is delicious with chocolate pie. Oh, you're just making my mouth water. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Yes, that's what you get. And that's what you hear when Jack Shadow orders a pizza from Bocelli's. So those poor guys on the other end of the phone. But even more poor, poor guys, the fates befall upon the delivery personnel who try to deliver the pizzas at Castle Shadow. Sometimes it doesn't go all that well. So that's too bad. That's just too bad. But don't forget to check out Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night on Stream TV and New York's 48 WON TV. And again, I'm going to do it. Check out my Chiller Night store at the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, Pennsylvania. I have to keep emphasizing that because people end up in the Cranberry Mall in Butler County ready to go through the escape rooms. Well, we're here. Where are you at? Well, what county are you in? Let's start with that. We've got merchandise. There's a few of the items there. The tiny terrors. This thing is on a delay here. I've been having some issues because, and now we're frozen. Having some issues because I've been getting kicked off the internet randomly. When I did that, when I was bringing everything up, OBS said that there is an update. Would you like an update? You know, trying to push an update on me. I'm like, no, remind me later. And so between that and that and that and that, so I was having some difficulties at the beginning of the episode, and hopefully that's it. Hopefully, oh, and we got some nice canvas pictures of the monster. I don't have them right there, but let's just hope that I am. Cross our fingers. We also have, if you got a sweet tooth, we can accommodate that there too. I've got to update some more pictures here. We've got bobbleheads. We got all kinds of neat things there, and I wonder if me putting these pictures up is somehow interfering with the running of the show here. I don't know. Hopefully next week we'll have all the technical bugs worked out. John Wayne says, I always used to smuggle a pizza in the movies. Really? That's That's pretty impressive. Smuggling a pizza into the movies, huh? I can see in the winter maybe you'd have it. I don't know. Well, that's pretty cool. Steffi says, I got a pizza place called NYPD Pizza. Ah, that's neat. Bonus says, we got Papa John's down here, and I really should get a pizza pie. Ain't had one in a while. Not a bad idea. Stephanie says, just in case, see y'all next week. All right, Stephanie. All right. Well, I'm showing we got 5 more minutes, so hopefully we do have 5 more minutes, and I don't get booted off, and so I don't know. We'll see. But every Saturday night when I was growing up, we were watching Chiller Theater. I know, like, not every Saturday night we did this, but my mom would make, some snacks for us. She'd get a pizza. Sometimes it'd be a frozen, but sometimes it would be those Chef Boyardee pizzas. This back in the 70s, where that was kind of I don't know, they were a lot more popular, I think, back then than, I don't even know if they still make them. I think they might. Does anybody know? I don't. But, yeah, back in the 70s, that was just kind of cool. That was such a treat to get a Chef Boyardee pizza. But we'd have that, or maybe sometimes it was popcorn or, some other snack. But we would sit down and, enjoy Chilly Billy, hosting Chiller Theater on Saturday nights. Good stuff, good memories. But all right, so next week, I forget already what the topic was, so I'll have to look here. Let's see. Mandela effect. All right. So where is Renee? Renee, this is right up Renee's alley. She would love to watch this one, I think. Hopefully Renee will be here next week. Hopefully Patty gets a chance. I'm kind of thinking, I don't remember this, but maybe one of those two might have picked that as a topic. So we'll do those, and then when we don't have a pre-selected topic, we'll do Creep Show after that. So hopefully we can get through next week with no technical craziness. But I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. It was a nice little walk down Monster Memory Lane for me, at least. I'm sure you guys as well. But going back and just reminiscing about not only the HBO series and the movies, but just even the EC comics. So a lot of fun. And I have not forgot about Bonehead's idea about doing a 2-hour episode. I would love to do that. I'm not prepared right now before... it won't be before Halloween. I'm sure of that. I don't think it will be anyways. But anyways, I am open to that. I think that'd be fun. As long as we get all the technical issues smoothed over. But I will say, I think the only thing that knocked this off whack was me trying to pull up the video and the images. For some reason, when I clicked on those, there was quite a delay. I think that had something to do with me bypassing the update, I'm guessing, because I was trying to get my audio and everything else working before tonight. So, bonuses, mayhaps favorite pizza brands, LOL. Oh, but the topics. Well, I'm gonna save a Chili's. Yeah, but I do like Papa John's also. That's when I lived in Pittsburgh. I had a Papa John's not that far away from me, and I used to like to order from there. Al says, good night, everyone. Good night, Al. Thanks for joining us. One of these days, we could maybe have a favorite food as a topic. Okay, I didn't see that one. But it says, yeah, why not? Yeah, what's your favorite treat when you're watching a chiller movie? And with that, I will say is 8:59. So hey, folks, we made it. We made it without me getting bumped off the internet tonight. So aside from the issues that we had at the beginning of the show, and then just fairly recently, we made it. So thank you, and for joining me and each other here. Right. Oh, bonus says, Brian, just please let me know when, and if you could do it on a Saturday, Miss Glam Thangs could join us as long as you let me know ahead of time, so she'll know. All right, I will let everybody know well in advance. So I will definitely do that. So, but thank you guys for joining me and each other tonight, and have a good night. Have a good chiller night. We will see you next week.